right, here we are on April 16th. As you can see, I'm still in the hotel room hoping the Wi-Fi works better than it did last night. Who knows? It depends on when all the people start streaming around here, right? What they shouldn't be streaming. But anyway, I am still in San Ramon, going to be flying to another city. I'm all over North America as I run a portfolio here in North America that's pretty large. But I love this stuff, and so when I'm done with my work, I see if I have enough time to actually research enough to add value to you guys. I think I've done enough of that now. There weren't a huge number of drops, but some important drops. And I also wanted to go back and revisit some of the drops and look into, especially this one about Scalia and the 187 and calling Brennan a black clown. I think that is just crazy stuff. And welcome, Dogfather of Hole and Mike H. Good to see you. Boston here. Good to see you guys. I'm in San Ramon. Hopefully, this will not. Last time when I was talking and what I was showing kind of got, because of the Wi-Fi, was not in sync. So hopefully we can stay in sync this time, doing a little bit earlier than the last time, so hoping that helps. But let's get into this. Scalia 187, the black clown. I'd kind of miss it. I talked about Brennan being involved in this whole tarmac deal and the whole Scalia 187 from a perspective of them coordinating it all, but it looks like Q may have been calling Brennan out as the actual black clown. Is that right? Wow. Thanks for the Ontario. Good to see you from Ontario. Glad to catch you live here. Hey, Morgan. Good to see you. Awesome. So here we're going. Let's get into this. Scalia 187. If you go back and look at the Q post and you look at this 161, it said SC Supreme Court, Ruth Ginsburg, right? Anthony Scalia 187, clown black Brennan Q. So I kind of had read that, but I just didn't really coordinate that. Was he literally saying that Brennan was the black clown, that he's the one that was responsible for Scalia's 187? Now that would be crazy, and we'll see if that ends up getting dropped and true later. But wow, and if we dig into this, we'll kind of get into other things that I kind of missed. If I go back down to 1160 here, clown UADs are here. So basically this was talking about four CIA user IDs are here. So this military intelligence, NSA, has so much knowledge that they know exactly who's on this site. So again, and then he says Armenia, and I think I showed you an article last time. Well, George Soros had a huge foundation there in Armenia, right? But also, I guess there's a lot of CIA operatives in Armenia. We have a lot of operations there. And so if you do a Google Cueanon search on the stats by country, Armenia at the time Q put this, back on the 15th, was actually number one, ahead of the U.S. even. And so somebody actually went and did a look at that, and they posted it here as the first post for, I think, April 15th, right? So for April 16th, right? So this was April 15th down below, and up above is April 16th. And you'll see this search that showed all the searches starting, right? October 28th is when QAnon came online. You can see how it skyrocketed here lately as far as the number of views of QAnon. But the important thing I want you to see is right here. The first was United States right now, but second in Armenia. Are you serious? Armenia, not Canada, not beat Canada out. What about Australia and all these other places that would be looking at QAnon, right? So obviously he's talking about clowns that are in Armenia and they're searching QAnon. They are worried. They are here just like we are right now looking at this. Stephen, good to see you as well. Lynch was promised Supreme Court justice position. Hillary deal was set on tarmac. Exactly right. And that's what we talked about yesterday quite a bit. Q did clarify something, though, letting us know that they were going to keep her as Attorney General when Hillary became president, and then she was going to appoint a new Supreme Court justice. And then when Rose Ginsburg retired is when they were going to give Loretta Lynch the Supreme Court position. Either way, criminal, corrupt, basically saying, lay off my wife's criminal Clinton Foundation, an email investigation, and then you will become a Supreme Court justice. And that is total criminality, total corruption that we need to expose and get rid of, obviously, right? Now, it said something about send in the seals to Armenia now. I hear you. I hear you, Godfather. That's funny. Saw some comments on several videos talking about CIA agents arriving in Armenia. Yeah, so there's a lot going on there. So this basically said very well. So search for anything before October 2017. If you want to split hairs, the data shows that the keyword didn't start trending until November. So obviously it didn't, because he didn't go really on time, get on board until start posting until October 28th was the first one, right? Here's April. Then Q basically points to this anon and says distraction. They are here in force. So basically, the CIA, 4 of them were on board when he posted that just last night. So anyway, that's crazy stuff going on right now. Now, if you look at this, this is the next post. This is 1166, and it's actually his tweet from this morning, right? And I think, yeah, that's right, the 16th. So that was this morning at 8:30 a.m. I usually would be East Coast time, EST his time. Russia and China are playing the currency devaluation game as the U.S. keeps raising interest rates. Not acceptable. So we saw that the Federal Reserve kept the interest rates extremely low for Obama so that the economy wouldn't collapse, right? And now they're raising it on Trump, obviously in an attempt to slow down the economy. And then when Russia and China play their devaluation game to make their goods cheaper than ours, which is what the game they're playing, Trump's all over it and going to end this. And so what does he say to this post? So this anon says, anyone think this tweet has to do with Q's post pics of the where and why. And you remember the where and why was a couple places in China. The second one was a stock exchange in China. I've read a little bit about that, but don't have a bunch more details. The anon says, is 555 fine eyes. Seems like Q only answers this first part and saying not a coincidence, 25 of 100%. I think it's just talking about the devaluation where they're only like 25 cents on the dollar type thing because they're playing these devaluation games. I'm guessing what that means. Armenia is George Soros. This is Janela Moore saying his Open Society organization is headquartered there. Armenia is also the center of human slavery and human trafficking in Eurasia. Adam Schiff is a big defender of Armenia. I would believe it. Yeah, thanks for the information there. Thanks for the information. But let's dig back into another couple of these posts. If I go to the next one, that's 1166, 1167. So now an anon is basically jokingly saying, so we have iris scanners for phones. When do we prick our finger and drop blood on the home button to confirm our IDs? Question mark. See where this is going? And basically Q replied to this anon and said, 23andMe, Ann Wojcicki, spouse. Why is this relevant to Q? So if you go look this up, I'll show you in a second. But basically 23andMe is where you can get your genetic codes done and it'll tell you all these fun little things about your genetics. At the same time, they're actually storing all that information about you, right? And this person was actually married for 4 or 5 years to who? Let's go look at it. Basically, one of the founders of Google, and Google was created by the CIA. So where do you think all this information is going to? If you go give them your little blood, give them your DNA sample, all that information is going to be saved in the CIA databases. So I think that's why he's talking about why is this relevant. It all comes back down to the Facebook ploy to do everything about us, Project Lifeline about everything about us, right? Or log, right? And so I'll show you a couple of articles on 23andMe right here. 23andMe is terrifying, but not for the reasons the FDA thinks. The genetic testing company's real goal is to hoard your personal data, right? So this is a whole article. This was actually way back in 2013, this article was. But I'll put that in the notes. You can go dig into it in a little bit more detail. But a lot of information. At this point in time, she was actually married. I'll go show you a little bit about if this talks about it real quick here. Now I'm going to instead go to a couple other things. This is how the CIA made Google inside the secret network behind mass surveillance, endless war, and Skynet. And this is part 1 of 2-part series. Very, very long article. but really gets into exactly how the NSA and CIA basically don't let us flourish as America anymore, because they take over all the brilliant entrepreneurs, fund them, and when one succeeds over the other, they drop the other one, and then they have the asset under control themselves. So basically our Central Intelligence Agency is taking over any of these companies such as Facebook and Twitter and Reddit and Google. And so this is a real good article that talks about the detail of all that. And then this is the Open Society Foundations in Armenia, talking about Soros being very heavily involved there. From what somebody else is telling me, Jonella is talking about Adam Schiff is involved there heavily, and it's got a heavy problem with child sex trafficking. So really weird stuff going in there. So want to get back to one search I'm going to do real quick, because I want to show you about Brennan and the connection with her. So you look at her. She was actually dating Alex Rodriguez for a while. I saw a bunch of articles about that, and this is after she was divorced from here it is right here. Look at this. So this is Anne Wojcicki, and you can see that she was born in 1973, and her spouse was Sergey Brin. Guess who that is? For about 7 or 8 years. And if you go look at Sergey Brin, he co-founded actually Google as one of the co-founders, right? So Sergey Brin is a Russian-American computer scientist and internet entrepreneur, together with Larry Page, and he co-founded Google, right? So we got the CIA, Google, and 23andMe all connected here. And so if you don't, bottom line, don't be giving your blood samples to 23andMe just to find out cute little things about yourself, because they actually have another reason why they want that from you, right? So if we go back to this here, and then the last post of the day gets into this portfolio company right here, and it's called In-Q-Tel. Now, there's a lot of information going around, a lot of research being done on this right now, but it appears to be something to do with Soros as well as China. And so I'm not sure exactly where all that's going to go. So if you know more about In-Q-Tel, let me know. You are offline, darn it. So I don't know if anybody can hear me, but see, it looks like it's going fine here. So we'll just keep on going and hoping that things go well. Dark webs, Dogfather of Hull says, dark web is the elite's internet. Hillary video might be on there. Yeah, I read some things about the dark web, and it's really scary what's going on there. So we'll go over another Mark Taylor prophecy after I go over a few more news articles that I thought were really interesting. Here's one that talks about, I went over that one with you. Just in, this is Corsi reveals what Bill Clinton offered Loretta Lynch on the tarmac. So if you listen to my videos the last 2 times, you will know everything in here. But I just want to let you know that Corsi's actually putting out articles now, and this is what he did on February 7th. This is what's kind of cool. So here's February 7th. Dr. Corsi writes this article, and if you go look at it and get through it, it's just kind of really interesting when he's talking about these February drops that Q did. And so obviously Corsi, I didn't realize, was putting out all this information way back in February, telling everybody exactly what happened on the tarmac. The clarification we got this time is that she was going to get not Anthony Scalia's position, but Rose Ginsburg's position. And the stuff that came out on Rose last time, if you go look at that, just go, if you missed yesterday, wow, she is really off her rocker when it comes to against the Constitution. She might as well be a communist, as people have talked about. Here's another cool thing. February 16th, this is today, 153 arrests in global child sex trafficking operation, Project Mercury, right? So this is happening all over the place. People are saying that things aren't happening. Give me a break, guys. Just go back and look at all the sex trafficking bust over the last year and a half. It's been incredible. Ever since the nomination, there's been sex traffickers rolled up like mad. And that's, all those people are going to talk. And there are going to be deals at these lower levels that are going to go after the bigger guys, right? That's the exciting part about this. So don't give up hope here. I know that, by the way, Alex Jones actually almost apologized. It basically talked he's still supportive of Trump, and that he talked about how he had other stresses in his life that caused him to freak out on Friday. So anyway, I was glad to see that. He's still, in my opinion, still a little misguided on the Syria thing. And I got even more evidence about this being the clowns or our deep state caches of weapons that we were destroying, right? Not something that Assad was in control of. So here's another just Twitter thing that I thought was kind of interesting. Again, most of this stuff I want to make sure I give credit where credit's due. I get from vote.co, voat.co, and also from reddit.com. And when you go in there, The Great Awakening. All right, a little bit on the Donald sometimes, but you need to subscribe to The Great Awakening. That's probably the best site that I found for people like me and you that aren't coders. Obviously, getting on 8chan and really getting into the details of this stuff and going to the research boards is something that I don't have time for. But if you want to just kind of, if I'm too busy traveling and you want to understand what's going on, go to reddit.com and go to The Great Awakening. You'll see great stuff there. A lot of this stuff I'm finding. But this guy basically, name redacted 7, says Stroke, Page, and McCabe were going to hide that laptop indefinitely so it couldn't hurt Hillary. The New York Police Department, through Prince and Giuliani, saved the day. So there's more. There's more. I did some searching, couldn't find exactly, but that is really cool. So now here is another post about The Great Awakening. You'll see this is the site I was just talking about, reddit.com, The Great Awakening. Q is getting more and more direct. We must be getting close to a big boom, according to this person's asking. And they gave the April 16th example of the 5 eyes. Let's look at this one more time, because this is the first time this came out. We read it together, right? So I hadn't had chance to analyze it. Reread 5 eyes. That's the 5 countries that participate in overriding privacy laws, so that since the CIA can't legally spy on me here in the U.S., well, they can just go use Canada or use Australia, New Zealand, or Great Britain, right? And so those 5 countries together are the 5 eyes, and obviously UK and Australia assisted here. Avoid U.S. detection law. That's how they're avoiding U.S. data collection laws. And Obama was involved. Hussein is talking about public dossier FISA. Obviously, they're spying on the Trump campaign before they even got the FISA. Not public, 5 eyes, UK, Australia, POTUS targeting using pushed Russia decoy meetings campaign insertions. This is where they literally inserted in the campaigns people like Montfort and Papadopoulos to basically, they know already had a Russian connection, so they can actually go try and use that as an excuse to get the FISA. And then it talks about Hussein, which is Obama, Hillary Rodham Clinton, Loretta Lynch, Brennan, Clapper, and they were all in the basically national security White House situation room operational, spying on the Trump campaign, is I think what this is talking about. So anyway, if you guys have some other things, let me know. I know there's, I'm going to show that, Jonella. It holds anything like, if you say the word pedophilia or you say anything about sex or anything like that, so I have to hit to let it go. But whether he was a pedophile or not, I know there was some information about that. I'm not sure if I believe that. I probably don't, Janella, but I understand that some people do believe that, and there's some information that come around that. And part of the reason I don't believe that is because of Mark Taylor prophecies, and God was calling him his servant. So I don't think if he was involved in pedophilia, Mark Taylor or God would have called him his servant. But anyway, we'll see. I think we're going to be a lot of surprise about some of the evil on both the right and the left, that we will find out who really are participating in this and who's being bribed versus who's really evil. And so I think Trump is making some good decisions, and with all these 25,000 sealed indictments about who he's making deals with, as far as the ones that are just bribed versus really who's evil, right? So I was doing a lot of in looking at energy. Here's something that's interesting. The North Korea leader, Kim Jong-un, right, actually recognized his wife as the first lady for the first time. So this is accepting some Western-oriented thinking, U.S.-oriented thinking, which is kind of crazy. And so I think this is another sign that the United Korea could be coming in the future here soon, and that they're recognizing the way Trump's thinking. I'm taking this as good news anyway. if I look at this here as a New York Post, and this is basically somebody back on the Donald. This is, again, Reddit, but it's the Donald here. I just thought this was interesting. He says, for all of you session haters out there, there's a lot of them, right? Chill out. Stealthy Jeff has got this. Stealthy Jeff Sessions, right? And he basically pointed to a New York Post article. Again, he put this up really recently, like just a while ago. But if you look at this, it's also noteworthy that Sessions says Huber will work outside Washington. You know, that's Huber is a prosecutor from Utah, will work outside Washington, meaning he won't be part of the swamp, but will partner with Inspector General Horowitz. That gives the probe double-barreled, clean-hand approach and the widest possible range of power to subpoena both current and former officials, as well as prosecute them. So I've heard people talking about this being a brilliant move when everybody else was saying, no, we need a second counsel. It's idiotic. Well, that's not what this person says, and I agree with this, that even though the second counsel might be on some things, there's a lot of work we can do on the current IG report that's coming out. Sessions also says he regularly receives updates on the probes, meaning he is taking personal responsibility for the outcome. So good stuff there. Now here's a couple other things. Here's a long article that I might read through this just because I think it's really intriguing. This is a guy that has something to do with the military. Quite good update. News briefings, mass arrest updates, Syria attacks, hitting cabal targets, military tribunals. Great topics, right? And so he has something to do where he's in the military getting briefed on things. And so we are finally starting to hear a lot of chatter and starting to receive a number of briefings after a period of running silent. And he goes through, and I'm going to go down here where he basically gives this update. So this update was just yesterday, right? And he says, we went through, see what happened there. I lost my whole screen. Don't know what happened there. See if I can find it. Bummer, guys. I'll try to find that. I might have to read that for you next time because I lost it completely. There's some funny things going on. I was looking at Alex Rodriguez and Ann Wojcik were actually dating for a while there. I was also looking at, I just did a search on surgery vein. So that's the news. I'll get that article back up at a later time. Hopefully I'll be able to find that real quick. But some great insights. I think I found that. Again, if you go to Reddit, I'll do that real quick. Show you, go to reddit.com. And it defaults to Calm Before the Storm, by the way. And it got shut down. That's during all this censorship. There's tons of great information out there, and it got completely shut down by Reddit, showing that Reddit is just like YouTube, just like Facebook. They're completely controlled by the neocon not neocon, wrong word, but just the deep state, right? That are basically trying to shut down all conservatives, all libertarians, right? But if you go to them and you actually subscribe to Great Awakening or the Donald, Great Awakening is my favorite, because it really focuses on Cueanon more than anything. And then I like to go, instead of sorting on hot, I sort on top. So I think you guys really enjoy this, especially when I can't keep you up to date when I'm traveling a ton. So you look at this, and it, leaked details about Loretta Lynch on the tarmac meeting, arrested, that's where I got that sex trafficking deal, right? Strzok and Page and McCabe were going to hide that laptop indefinitely, right? I showed that to you. Can it be Thursday, the big day? This is what's this talking about, is that could be Patriots Day. The 19th Thursday is Patriots Day. Could that be the day the video is released? Right? So that will be interesting. Subscribers to the Great Awakening. See, from what I'm told, okay, here's the article. Hopefully that's the one I was just trying to read that just got lost. And it's still in the storm, right? That's the one I was going to read you. That looks like I can bring it back up real quick. And so this article is intriguing. And again, this Corey Good, who's some part of military intelligence. And I was just reading here on the 15th. We went through a period of weeks where I was told that the alliance was operational. There were operators from Marine and Army Special Forces that were picking up leaders of MS-13 and foreign intelligence operatives connected and sending some of them to Gitmo in Cuba. So that's crazy. We've seen there's been planes going to Gitmo, so this could be part of it, could be the MS-13. I was told there have been a number of other operations throughout the world by these same U.S. Special Force teams Quite a lot of very disturbing information is poised to be released in the coming weeks and months. I have told to be careful of intel coming in during this recent blackout period due to ongoing operations. So those operations, night 1, night 2, night 3, night 4, night 5, right? I think that there's a lot going on right now. The alliance was searching for leakers and traitors within the ranks and pulled a few old tricks to identify them. I was told it worked. They released info through different sources that is slightly different and tracked the leaker by the difference in the intel reporting being circulated. This means that during that time, I should not report what I heard, as some of this was disinfo to root out leakers and counterintelligence operations. I think you know that. They're experts at telling us true story, adding a bit of false information, giving it to one area. Do the same thing with a little bit of different false information to another area. And then do the same in a third area. Different false information. Then when it gets leaked, you know where it came from. A, B, or C as an example, right? We also told that elements within both the U.S. and Russian governments are trying to foment a world war as a distraction from upcoming releases. So obviously, all these, instead of these video releases and all this corruption, they're trying to start a war as fast as possible to distract from this, right? And so they're worried that the deep state in Russia that's against Putin and the deep state against Trump here in the U.S. are going to try to get some nuclear weapons after each other, or try to start a war of some type. That's the risk we need to pray against, obviously. They fear rogue operators from either of their armed forces will be ordered by the cabal to attack the other. This tactic has worked for the cabal on many occasions in the past. Keep in mind that we would have had an open military coup in 2015 if the alliance had not been assured by Donald J. Trump that he would legitimize their efforts if they waited until he was president. We read about that before. Is that just crazy? They're going to do a military coup on the deep state. And it would have been literally a military coup because it would have been illegal, obviously, at that point in time. Now, Trump being president, having the executive branch, they're trying to do everything they can with the sealed indictments to make everything legal. So it'll protect the military. When they take him down through the mass arrest and have military tribunals, it will all be legal. These same generals made it known to the cabal that if they took Donald J. Trump out, they would then immediately launch the open military coup and arrest nearly half of the government and form military tribunals. So this might be why Donald Trump's alive. As soon as they take Donald Trump out, the threat is they will immediately go arrest them all. So that is crazy. That God could be using maybe that as a form of protection. From what I am told, military tribunals will be 100% be justified and needed once the level of evil and corruption is exposed. There are serious concerns from within all factions of the alliance, U.S. military, intel side, about how the general public will react to this information. I know we have been promised for years there would be mass arrests. Some of the Syrian missile strikes were actually against cabal targets and were approved by Putin, allegedly according to a briefing. As I have stated previously, the deep state would have had to arrest itself. That was not going to happen. So let's back up here. That paragraph just confirmed from a military source, supposedly, right, that the Syrian attacks were on cabal targets. Is that not cool? So I'm going to show Stephen Mahan. You got something that's stuck. I'm going to try to show it. There you go. I just released that. Funny names for roads, LOL. Yeah, so let me get back to this real quick because this is almost done now. The process will be long and drawn out over the next couple of years or so. I've told you that right before. It's not going to happen overnight. The things are being done in a very legal and constitutional way to protect the military groups involved in the counter-coup operations. The sealed indictments are real and will be unsealed when the time is right. That's the stage being set. We talked about that, right? Now, here it goes. I would also expect more false flags and data dumps from both sides to try to counter the moves of the other. So much of this war is being fought in the shadows and through electronic, some AI hacks, huge ones, caching military, aircraft, getting into missiles, etc., and counterintelligence methods. Think Q, military intelligence, and infiltration operations, not to mention fake training missions for the Marines and the Army, SF, who are using the trainer as cover to make arrests and kill some of the most psychotic operatives that are considered too dangerous to attempt to apprehend alive. So guys, there's Gitmo stuff going on right now. There's operations going on all behind us right now. Again, think MS-13 and similar groups that are run by both domestic and foreign intelligence groups. Stay tuned for some upcoming updates and articles from the people I work with. We may also have more info on certain videos. Listen to this. We may have more info on a certain video that is on the dark web soon. I have been briefed on it and shown 8 still images. So this guy actually saw 8 still images of that video that's about ready to be leaked. I have turned down one offer from the alliance to have my screen, basically have me screen the video and report on it. And I thought that was weird. Why would he do that? Well, because he was just worried about the hardened New York police officers were sickened by this video, right? After the briefings with photos and video clips I received at the end of last year about it, the pedivore practices and what they do to these poor souls from beginning to end left me sick and unable to sleep for weeks. So supposedly this has to do with mass torture as well as cannibalism and really sick stuff that the average human wouldn't be able to sleep for weeks. And he says, as a father, I don't know if I could look at much more of this intel and be the same. Imagine how general population would react. I feel we need full disclosure, as does the SSP Alliance. The Earth Alliance doesn't think society would survive the revelations and have plan on having most of this tried secretly in military tribunals. So some of this might be military tribunals that we don't even know about or see, which I thought was really interesting. We deserve to know, react, and heal from all these revelations. None of this is happening as quickly as we would like or deserve, but it's happening. So that's the hope I want to give you right there. It's happening, right? This is still very much a hot and active combat zone, so expect a few twists and turns and maybe a false flag or two soon. Wow, guys. So to me, confirmation of everything we've been talking about there on this. So let's dig in now to Mark Taylor. That was really the end of the Q dump and the news dump. So those of you who don't want to get into the spiritual aspect of this, you can drop off now. But I love to take Q and what Mark Taylor's teaching, put it together, because I think it really coincides. It's exciting to me. I think God is calling his army of God to go help heal this land, take over territory, and then eventually harvest the rest of the world. I think it's going to be an exciting time. Now, this is an older prophecy. Yesterday, I read an energy prophecy that was done in January of 2018. Mark Taylor wrote this one. You can see here, Mark Taylor wrote this one in December of 2016, right? So right after the election. And he wrote this thing, and it's again about energy again, so I wanted to kind of get that in just 2 paragraphs, so it'll be pretty fast. So here it is. The Spirit of God says, energy, energy, I am releasing new energy. For this new energy that I am releasing will make my America and Israel energy independent. Very similar to the other prophecy, right? For America and Israel will now be the top energy producers in the world. Just think about that. If this comes true, the top energy producers in the world. And that's starting to happen. We're seeing massive shell energy coming out. And we even saw Israel striking oil for the first time and actually exporting oil. Israel found oil and is exporting it. You can go look up that yourself. It's crazy. And now this new energy, which is going to be something beyond oil, I think, is going to be coming out. And supposedly God's going to give that to Israel and the United States. We'll see. The new energy and the technology to capture it will spring forth from the depths as the volcano erupts from the depths. This is the sign that will be given. A massive volcano eruption will signal that this is the time for our American Israel and the end of the energy corruption. And by the way, Mark Taylor, in interviews, if you go listen to him, has talked about this being Mount Cinnabon's volcano that happened several months ago. So he said that sign, in his opinion, has already been revealed, and that this new energy is going to start to be revealed. Okay. OPEC, your evil regime will no longer be tolerated. You will no longer be needed, for you refuse to listen to my words and have not heeded. For when that ring of fire blows its top, it will be a sign to you that you will lose your stock, and the covenant you have with that ring will be lost. So that's scary, but as you see, I've heard reports that Saudi Arabia wells are running dry. They're trying to diversify their economy. That's why they bought these weapons to protect themselves. And this new king's really worried about their economic conditions and just the fact that the U.S. is producing massive oil right now. Right? So here's the last paragraph, and we'll wrap it up here. The Spirit of God says, your countries that have dominated energy for decades to move your evil agenda are charged with this guilt. Your days are numbered, and you will say, look how fast this was built. My America and my Israel will be one, and because of this, you will be undone. Because of your rage and the money you made from those countries you manipulated and attacked from within, you will now have to turn to those countries for help on a whim. For your wells will go dry, and your finances too, for you will now be fed from the red, white, and blue. Crazy stuff, man. So far, everything I've seen from Mark Taylor has come true, and if he's a true prophet, this is going to be a scary time for those in the Middle East, that they're going to have to turn to us for food, actually. But, more importantly, guys, it's just crazy that we are now in a time where we are seeing our own government killing off Supreme Court justices. Is that the sad time? And it looks like Q's telling us that the black clown is Brennan in the 187 of Scalia. And that is sad times when that starts happening. So, again, I'm going to just read some of the comments here real quick, and we'll wrap it up. Beast System. Yes, New York Police Department was shaken by this video. It was Weiner's life insurance file. Yep, that's exactly right, Stephen. Linda says, I agree, Stephen. Godfather says, together with God, we will destroy them. I hear you. Linda, there is new energy that isn't new, just new to us. Yeah, maybe right. Godfather of Whole says, I have energy right now to take these sickos out. Rory says, anything to do with crack in Africa? That's interesting. I'm not sure. Matt Cinnabon, I don't think's there, so I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, Rory. Mill Stacka says, what we have today, they really had 40 years ago. Yeah, we talked about them suppressing technology. They're suppressing drug, suppressing healing agents and things for things like cancer and AIDS, and maybe creating AIDS. It's just crazy stuff going on out there. But I remember that the Q post about Sparrow Red, there's a movie called Red Sparrow. Yep, I talked about that. That came out in March 2018. If you watch the official trailer, it might explain that YouTube shooter a sparrow. Potentially right. He said Red Sparrow versus Sparrow. He said Sparrow Red versus Red Sparrow. It is about Jennifer Lawrence taking out CIA agents, right? So it is interesting. But there's another thing that I think I showed you where the RS probably stood for. YouTube shooter looks like David Hogg in drag. Message retracted. See, God bless all here. God bless. Very sad, Stephen says. It's all the best of times and the worst of times. I agree with that. And finally, a born again that connects Mark's gifts with God's gift. Trump and Q. Thank you. You're welcome, Want. Benjamin Davis, thank you for sharing. Pray for Jesus for rest. I hear you. I'm going to end in a prayer here. Rory, there is a large crack happening near the right side of Africa. Planned obsolescence. That's right, Jared. That's what they're trying to do. I think they're going to plan obsolete us, so at least get it down to around 1 billion people from the 7 billion now. So just killing 6 billion people was their 16-year plan, right? I seen it. Crack in Africa is a valley forming in the desert. I'll do some research on that. That'll be fun. Hey guys, I really appreciate you, and it's happening. Thank you too. But let's just lift this up real quick, Lord. I pray in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, Lord, that if this is the black cloud, you expose it to the world, Lord, and that Lord, I pray that all these deep state operatives repent. But if they don't, Lord, please judge them harshly and get them out of our governments, get them out of our world, Lord, and not just in the United States, but throughout the world, Lord. We just pray for, again, confusion and mass hysteria around this enemy's plans, and that the plans that the people that love you have will come to fruition, that you'll guide them, give them guidance, give them Solomon's wisdom, Lord. Most of all, let us know how we can help, Lord. Let each of us know how you want us to be involved here in this great movement, the Second American Revolution, this movement to the Great Awakening. Lord, we just pray in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Hey, guys, thank you all. I hope the connection was better this time. God bless, and we'll catch you later.